What's going on, my beautiful people? Another great day here inside the Black Actor Studio. I'm your host, Danny Royce, and joining us today is a very talented actor, producer, director, and you've seen him in the Dark Knight Trilogy and Glee, so stay tuned.
You're tuned into Black Hollywood Live, the world's first digital broadcast network devoted entirely to urban entertainment and pop culture. Tune in right now.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome inside the Black Actor Studio. So great to see you all again. Thanks for tuning in. Starting in Off-Broadway, West Side Story, and amongst many others, constantly creating and reinventing himself. He holds a multitude of film and TV credits, including Decker, DTLA, Dance Flick, and many others. The Black Actor Studio is very proud to welcome Ernest Pierce. How are you doing today, buddy?
I'm great, Danny. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for being here, man.
Glad to be.
It's a great day. I mean, a little rainy in LA, but it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, we made it here in one piece.
Yep.
So I want to get off and just ask you, how was the experience being on one of the greatest DC comic trilogies today?
You know, I started. I knew I wanted to be an actor, and I had to figure out exactly what could I do and where could I start. You know, gaining those credits and networking, and long and behold, I was with Claire Simon Casting in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
So who did most of the Black Knight and any of the action shows that was in Chicago. So submitted, I got called in, they interviewed me, and they said, okay, we're going to use you as one of the main SWAT members.
Nice.
So it was kind of, you get thrown in.
That's awesome.
And you just really, I was just like, what is going on? And they were overnight shoots, so we literally was on the River North Bridge, sleeping on the bridge until it was time for us to shoot, because the holding was so far back. Chicago is freezing.
Oh yeah.
But we had these fight scenes. We were grouped up in groups, and it was fantastic. It was definitely a great way to just start my career, to say, hey, this is it. This is what I want.
And you were in Chicago, so I mean, that was a great city.
It is a great city. It is a great city.
I remember when they were filming Dark Knight, and we heard a big explosion. I believe I was in class.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh my God, is this terrorist attack? I hope it's not there. But they were like, yeah, they're filming down the street. Okay.
Yeah, that might have been the day that they actually had brought out the Batmobile.
Oh yeah.
The older one.
Yes.
And so they blocked up the streets, and every time they started it up, it was a big explosion that came out. So.
Yeah, I was like, woo! But we're going to get more into your credits and all that beautiful stuff in a little bit. But I want to start off in the beginning. Where were you born?
I am Chi-Town, Chicago, Illinois. Chi-town. All day, every day.
And so what did your father do?
My father was a hustler.
Nice.
He literally, my father came from a big family, so it's about 9 of them.
Okay.
My father was the one that was very unpredictable. So he, from what I remember, because I didn't grow up fully with him, growing up, my father was a window washer. He worked at a place called also the Red Apple, which was a pinnacle place off of 63rd and Ashland. And
Chicago folks, you know where that's at.
Yeah, literally. And it had this huge apple, and it was there for years. And I remember him bringing me in. I must have been about 3 or 4, and I'm his identical twin. So I look better though. Literally coming in, and he used to go to the back, sit me down. Ladies loved me, used to make me food, little apple pie. It was just one of these old school little mom and pop type of restaurants, and that's what I remember my father. And from there, he just did a little everything. My father, he just believed in always having money, always putting forth your best foot, whatever you do, and staying busy. And that's what he did.
Nice. So did you learned a lot of your hustle mentality, how to make it, from him?
I did. From that, and also just, people on the South Side, we hustle.
Yeah. We do.
You do, and just being in Chicago in general, it's you either work hard or you get swallowed.
Yeah.
And I grew up with a grandmother who was like, you ain't gonna just sit around here and do nothing. So I was like, all right, gotta figure out what I want to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so how was your relationship with your mom?
My mom, we have it's a complicated relationship
Yeah.
right now. Uh, me and my mother were so close in age. We were only about 16 years apart.
Oh, okay.
My mom is very outspoken, and I mean very outspoken. So whatever, and that's kind of my whole family. If they think it, they'll say it.
Yeah.
So there was no secrets. There was no hiding anything in my house. My mom, what I can say is that I grew up with a lot of discipline. A lot of I gained those necessary skills I needed to survive for the rest of my life. Pretty much by the age of 10, I knew how to cook, I knew how to clean, I knew how to catch the CTA bus.
Okay.
I remember my mom and my dad, when they were together, they created this chart for me. I was 4, 5, and stuck it right on my wall and said, "This is what you have to do before you go to school. This is what you got to do when you get back." And literally every day I had to check it off.
Oh, wow.
So it created a lot of this. But mom was a Leo and my dad was a Virgo.
That makes
and
sense.
My birthday, which is August 23rd. So I'm a Leo Virgo right down the
wow.
middle. So I have both of their characteristics. So, and that pretty much, I can't escape any of them.
Yeah.
So my relationship with my mom right now, we talk almost every day. And it's like oil and vinegar.
Yeah.
Or oil and water, shall
Oil
I
and
say.
water, yeah.
And, but what I love about our relationship now is that anything I want to share with her, she just gives me raw, honest feedback. It's no, oh, it's going to be okay, baby. It's, look, this is what you did. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to not do. Because she's lived her life.
Right.
And she just wants the best for me and for my little brother and things like that.
And
So,
stuff like that's priceless. You
can't-
it really is an honest opinion.
Yeah,
That's
I remember being in college and I was telling a friend the other day, I said, I started college and I was working 3 jobs, trying to make it through college. And I would have these, I was a resident advisor for 4 years. All 4 years I was a resident advisor. And I would have these group of residents that would come in every year, and they didn't know how to do laundry. They didn't know how to they didn't know how to do anything. They didn't know what an iron was half the time.
Wow.
And it's just the basic life skills they didn't have that I had by the age of 12.
Wow. Yeah.
And those are the tools when I was able to go away and travel to other countries, I was good to go.
Yeah.
I didn't have that necessity to be around my family. It was like, okay, let's get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Independent. No.
Yes, exactly.
Did you have any nicknames growing up?
Oh God. Okay. All right. Okay. So this is a secret. Only my family and some very close friends know.
Exclusive right here.
Because my name is Ernest Pierce, they couldn't call me Ernest because my dad was around.
Right.
So they decided to call me by my middle name. Now my middle name was given to me actually by the nurse in the hospital when I was born. My mom did not know what to call me, so the lady was like, "Well, just call." I always loved the name Tremaine.
Oh, wow.
So Tremaine is my middle name, Ernest Tremaine Pierce.
Okay.
So from day one, I was called Tremaine growing up. Yeah.
Wow.
So as I got older, I learned what it means. It means from the big city. So it kind of
Nice.
kind of fit. Yeah.
Nice. So you have a little brother, right?
I do have a little, not so little anymore, but
Not
yes.
so little anymore.
Yes.
And do you have any other siblings besides the brother?
That's it. We grew up in, I grew up around a lot of close friends and friends of family, and I grew up in a few storefront churches. So these people I've been knowing for almost 25 years. I have a godmother, godfather, and about 3 or 4, they're my god sisters and brothers. And, you can't tell them they're not my brother and my sister because literally we've been knowing each other for, I would say, at least 20, I don't want to age myself, but at least 30 years.
30
years. And you really just don't have family, friends, or friends that long these days.
Right, exactly. That's very true. And in school, did you get into show choir? Were you in plays and theater? And I want to know when the acting bug actually bit you.
Okay. So I remember sitting watching TV, and believe it or not, the person that inspired me to want to be an actor was Roseanne.
Okay. Not so much anymore. No.
Not the current Roseanne, but back in the day.
Back in the day.
There was this made-for-TV movie on Lifetime, and I just remember just watching her, and it was just I was like, how do they do that?
Yeah.
I didn't, coming again where I'm from. I keep revisiting that because the odds say that I am not supposed to be where I'm at right now.
Right.
And I just knew what I wanted. I was like, well, that seems interesting to do, and it seems like something you don't do reciprocal every day in that same platform. I want to do that.
Right.
You know, it's like I could be a firefighter, but they're not just putting out fires and saving people all day. There's other people for that. I want to have fun and do it, you know.
Right.
So I just didn't know how to do it.
Okay.
So it lay dormant for a long time. So through grammar school, I finished grammar school, went to high school, and we just did not have a lot of resources.
Yeah.
We didn't have, we didn't have an acting program.
Yeah.
We had a choir, but not musical theater, so I didn't know what that was. So I just remember every so many years I would try to gain little tools in my tool belt. Because I knew that in order to be an actor, you had to have a lot of things, you know, in your tool belt to help you along the way. Whether you're a singer or not, you had to understand it.
Yeah.
Whether you're a dancer or not, you had to understand it. So, you know, I would get into these like modeling clubs in high school. I would get into the drum. I was a drum major in the Reserves Training Corps. And then from there, I joined this program called Students with a Purpose. And Students with a Purpose, SWAP, was in my high school where we gave back to inner city youth, teaching them about cultural awareness, health awareness. So we did these plays around the city, which took us to traveling around the state.
Wow.
And we had these scripts. It was all about some really hardcore issues. And it was the first one was about HIV.
Okay.
You know, and back in 1996, we only knew so much being in the city,
right,
because we didn't have the major programs in the school.
Exactly.
So I just remember doing it, and then they brought in this coach from actually one of the colleges, and she spent some time with it, and I was just like, yes, yes, this is something that I want to do. And she pulled me to the side. She says, you have something, you know, and everywhere we went, we inspired people. Everywhere we went, we inspired schools, and they just kept sharing our message through the platform of performance. And I knew that we didn't have the resources or the money, but what we were doing was on a bigger scale to what we could do at that given time. So I did what I could do, and that's when I got into modeling. And learning about the industry on that standpoint. And I stuck with that for almost until today, until I was able to transition over to become an actor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So you said Roseanne had an influence on you.
She did.
What was your thoughts like when the whole thing came out? You know, with her and using words and being fired and all that stuff. What was your
first and foremost, you know, you don't talk about my first lady.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right.
You know, I think at that platform, when you're on that level or any level, you got to be careful what you say and what you do. Whether you full-heartedly believe it, not everybody wants to hear it.
Right.
And does not give you the license to speak your mind every time. You don't know who you might help or hurt. And it's okay to share your thoughts among your inner group, but sometimes you just got to be quiet.
Right.
You know, I can't speak around anybody else. I know I would have never done it. I don't encourage anybody to talk negatively about anyone. But here's a woman who, you know, she kind of revamped herself.
She did.
You know, she had the support of the president. She had the support of ABC.
Yeah.
And she did what she does best. So, personally, being an adult now, I thought it was just very immature. Yeah. You know, and it was very bullheaded. You know, to think that you could speak negatively upon a public figure. You know, people do it, and I was watching CNN, with Jake Tapper and a lot of the anchors yesterday, and they were talking about how they get the audience on Instagram and Twitter, and how they negatively get all these comments. And, you know, people are going to talk bad about you all day, but it's how you respond, and how you lash out or whatever you decide to do, you know, as a result of it. Yeah. You just got to be the bigger person, and you got to be an adult. Right. You know, especially with this platform.
Yeah, and I was like, it was an interesting move, because I'm like, first, you're represented by a black woman, and the president of ABC is black. So it was just very like, wow. It was a bold move, like you said. Yes. Growing up, were there any other shows, particularly people of color, that influenced you and made you want to just pursue acting even more?
In Living Color.
Hey.
You know, literally it was. And then Martin.
Yeah.
Martin, Moesha. Moesha. And
Mo to the
I'm gonna take it way back, and this will age me. The Awakenings.
The Awakenings. I don't even know. Do I know that one?
It's The Awakening.
Oh, yeah,
the people
yeah.
Are on them with what's her name? With Mookie.
With the Wookiee, yeah. Wow, I remember that.
So yeah, and we used to be really excited as kids because they would come out at the Bud Billiken parade.
Oh, yeah.
And they had a huge following. Imagine if they had social media. Man,
God. Back then?
Back then. Oh my God. But it was and again, it kind of reminded me of what I went through with Students with a Purpose. They were talking about real life topics. They were talking about rape. They were talking about drugs. They were talking about gangsters and gang banging. And that's all we knew.
Right.
Growing up in those areas, and it helped us to navigate our way through making decisions for ourselves.
Exactly.
That and the DARE program.
DARE. Oh my God. Is that still around? That's still around, right? DARE, maybe?
It is.
I know they picked up the lion as the mascot now or whatever.
Oh my God. I guess they're done with no, that's Smokey the Bear. I was like,
That's
they're done
Smokey the Bear. So you started in musical theater, and then you came out here. When did you move out to LA and decide to pursue acting, TV, and film?
Okay. So I reached a point in Chicago where I realized I needed more. I needed more of a challenge, and I needed more of a platform where I could be more influential.
Right.
Sorry, part of my mic is out.
Oh, okay.
My
I can hear you.
Okay. I just knew that I needed more of a platform where I could diversify what I wanted to learn, explore, share, and grow as a talent. So that started in 2006 when I visited LA for the first time.
Okay.
And I said, this is where I'm meant to be. You know, some places sometimes we have this magnet, this something that draws us. We don't know what it is.
Right.
I've never visited LA, never knew what LA was, didn't have the money to come here. And I just knew it was something about LA. So I decided to go to New York first. I said, maybe I'm meant to be in New York because it's a little closer.
So
I called a
similar
friend.
to Chicago, you know?
And at the time, I was doing really well. I was booking national campaigns as a model, and I was traveling and just doing a lot. I already had been to Africa, and I was doing some campaigns there. I came back here, and then when I went to New York, I met with an agent, and she was like, "Look." She's like, "You don't look black enough." I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Yes.
For the campaigns that are here in the United States, you don't look black enough.
Right.
You're more European black. And I was like, "What the hell is that?" And I understand what she meant when she was trying to portray at that time.
Yeah.
You know, and I just said, well, that's kind of discouraging.
Right.
So you're saying if I stay here, I'm not going to have a career. And I was like, I'm not ready to go over to Paris and work over in Paris and be there, because I knew all my decisions from the age of 17 was to prepare me to be an actor here in the States. Yeah. So I felt if I went away at any given time, I'm shorting myself years of growth. I'm shorting my years of gaining experience in this, in this platform that I wanted to commit my life to. So I went back to Chicago. I said, you know what? I'm now at a point where the modeling isn't enough for me. I have to make this happen. Yeah. So I told everybody, I said, look, I'm moving to LA in February of 2008. I told everybody starting August of 2007. So I just started giving stuff away. Start giving stuff away in my apartment, and I said, well, here's the thing. If I have the money, I'll move. If I don't, then I don't. Yeah. And I was like, it got down to like a week before, and I was like, I'm going to go. Wow. So I only had less than $2,000 while I was in Chicago. I sent a deposit up here to put down an apartment. I sent the rent money, so I said, I gotta go now, because and so I literally got on the road in my little, what I call the green machine. It was like a Kia hatchback. I love that car. It was like a Kia hatchback, and my friends, I love my friends. One of my friends bought me like a $200 gas gift card. Oh, nice. That car got me all the way here. Oh yeah. And I prayed and I said, Lord, if this is meant to be, then show me the signs, and we'll make it happen. And I'll just believe and have faith in you. So I literally just packed all my stuff up. I drove to my mom's house. I said, hey, I'm leaving. She's like, what? I said, I'm leaving. I got $700. Wow. And if it's meant to be, I ain't coming back.
Yeah.
You know, and literally it's now 11 years I've been here.
No, that leap of faith, you just got to go for it.
You have to go and stay as positive as you can.
Right.
It is challenging to live in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
It's challenging to live anywhere.
Yeah.
But you have to have a support system here, and if you don't, you got to get it fast.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So when I got here, you know, just like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't have any mentors. I didn't have any people showing me the way.
Yeah.
I was studying at the Chicago's Actor Studio.
Okay.
And did Second City, and so I was, again, over the span of 3 or 4 years there, I was gaining like a lot of skill sets. So when I come out here, they're like, well, you don't have your SAG card, you're not going to be able to do anything. Yeah. I was like, I'm still going.
Right.
I was like, don't be trying to deter me, because you have those individuals who live in Chicago, live in a lot of cities, and they're just like, well, you can't go out there because they're scared, and they don't know what it is, or they came out and they made bad decisions.
Yeah,
you know,
they're projecting their fears.
They
on
are,
you. Yeah, mm-hmm.
You know, and it's people that have been in films that I recognized, and I just said, you know what, that's your journey. Mm-hmm. I have my own.
Right.
So
when you came out here, mm-hmm. I mean, you got some credits, you know, you started ranking up credits,
man,
TV, films.
I did. I said yes to any and everything.
Yeah.
And I just started auditioning. Auditioning. And within 3 months, I became SAG.
There you go.
You know, and I was taking classes, and I just said yes to everything I could. And my first project was Glee.
Was Glee, yeah. So I want to touch on Glee for a second, because I mean that was huge, mm-hmm. Obviously. How was that experience working on that show for you?
I had a cameo role in the beginning mm-hmm. of the show, so I wasn't an active performer. When I was signed up with the casting couch out in the Valley,
okay,
and Ryan Murphy saw my picture and was like, "Hey, we want that guy." Mm. And at the time, I was just like, "Well, I don't have any credits. I don't want to be typecast playing a gay character."
Right.
And so I turned it down. Uh-huh. And Rachel Berry was the product of gay parents. One was black, African American, and the other one was Jewish.
Oh, okay.
So they said, no, we want that guy. So they came back to the casting couch, and I said, no. I didn't want to do it. At the time, it was a pilot, so I didn't know what Glee was.
Right.
So she's like, would you please do this for me? I said, fine. Fine, I'll do it. And went on set, and we got dressed. They didn't, wardrobe, and literally, the initial it was to develop into a potential role, which came up about maybe 5, 6, 7 years. They always talked about her appearance, but they never brought it into the actual effect until the later seasons before she left the show, mm-hmm. and literally it was in the pilot. I'm in the pilot episode. So when she's talking about, she's like, I'm not homophobic. Uh-huh. I have 2 gay dads. So she literally opens her locker, and that's me posted all up on her locker. So, I get the bragging rights that I was on set the first day, and I was able to work with the lead cast and character, mm-hmm. and I got chosen by Ryan Murphy and the line producer.
There you go. And then it blew up.
It did blow up. It was just like, well, when are they going to call us back in? So, and you just never know what might happen and when might happen. But I had a lot of other projects that developed from that.
Right. Yeah.
So
I mean, it just rolls. The blessings just roll, right?
It does.
And then you worked on Dance Flick. How was it working with the Wayans brothers? I love the Wayans brothers.
Okay. So that was part of the process of trying to get my SAG card.
Okay.
So I don't recommend you guys doing that. Little tricks of the trade.
Little tricks. Share with us.
At the time I was studying theater at Pierce College out here. So mm-hmm. It was one of my class structure that I was just like, I got to stay studying. Even if it's not the big studios, I got to stay studying.
Right.
So I had learned all this makeup trick. I was taking a makeup class. So I learned all this creative makeup and, how to age yourself, how to mm-hmm. Do creative makeup to really just make your skin fall off and everything. So it got really cool. So, it was Hollywood casting out here, and they were calling for extras, and I was like, well, I need to get my SAG card so I can get bigger roles.
Right.
So one day they called us in. I already had got one voucher. At the time, SAG and AFTRA was not combined.
Okay.
They didn't merge together. So I was like, well, I got to get 2 more vouchers so I can join. And I was doing a lot of extra work, Women's Murder Club. I did Batman again. I did a lot of other stuff. So the interesting thing is it's like, okay, we need ballet dancers. Now, I had a lot of musical theater and didn't have any professional, but coming from fame, I had almost a half a year of training with choreographers in ballet. So I was like, well, I'm a ballet dancer.
I can do this.
So I submitted it, and they called me, and I got another voucher.
Nice.
And we didn't actually film the scene. So I was like, I got a voucher for just, saying, hey, I can do it. So it was another breakdown, and I was just like, they need a crackhead. And I was like, all right, you're too much of a pretty boy, like a crackhead, so what do I gotta do? So I literally, I did all this dark makeup and had some torn clothes on, and I got a friend, I was like, get over here, I need to take pictures of me. So I put together this whole presentation for the Wayans brothers, and I had wine bottles and laid out on the street and in the garbage, and you couldn't recognize me, literally, and I submitted it, and it must have been about a good 200 or 300 people submitted, and they was like, we want that guy.
Nice.
So literally, they called me in. I went in the next day, and it was first time I ever had my own trailer. Wow! So it was amazing. It was just a great feeling. I was just like, this is what it's meant to be.
Right.
So I'm on set. So I had already did my own makeup, and they was like, he's perfect. So Marlon came over to me, was like, no, ain't enough crack on his face. I was like, what is he about to do to me? So literally, they go and gets a white powder. I'm like, pow! I was like, dude. So literally, it was just awesome working with Damien and Marlon and seeing Sean on set and just really the culture. They are really amazing at what they do.
Some of the hardest working people out there.
Very much so. And they are really devoted to the cast and their crew. Right. And they make sure that you're well taken care of when you're on set. And they're just a pleasure to work with. And it was one of the best experiences I've been since I've lived here.
That's awesome. Well, there you go, actors. If you're listening, that's how you get it done. Go above and beyond to get what you want. I mean, you got to stand out, right? You do. But I just want to take this time to say thank you, everyone who's tuning in right now. Go ahead, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment box. We are here live, and I want to say thank you to AfterBuzz and Black Hollywood Live for allowing us to be here. And Ernest, once again, thank you for joining us today. So, Make America Great. I actually watched that, and it was hilarious.
Yes.
But when that came out, obviously it was the whole Trump, Make America Great Again, all that stuff. Can you just tell us about the production side of that and developing that project?
That was all done by Candace Vernon. She Works Media, which is a production company. The breakdowns went out, and I didn't know what it was. She only released us so much information, obviously for just protection rights, and went in, auditioned for a part. I walked in with another guy, and our chemistry was just so good, and she was just like, all right, okay, thank you. And didn't hear back, and then all of a sudden I got a call, and she's like, okay, this is the project, this is what the concept is, and we can't say much about it because, we did that before he was elected. Yeah. And we didn't know. It was more satire. We're just like, oh, he's not going to get elected. Yeah.
Just like.
And he literally got elected. And we were just like, this is messed up. I remember going into, at the time I was studying at Leslie Kahn Studios. And the day that he got elected, we had class that night, and people was coming in crying. Yeah. They were mad.
It was crazy.
So to be able to work on a project of such caliber, and it got so much exposure internationally. It was at the Cannes Short Film Awards, and it just worked its way around all the black festivals and some of the more multicultural festivals as well. Yeah. The topics, even though it was a short film, it was mind-blowing.
It was.
To imagine the 13th and 14th Amendment being removed by President Trump.
Right. It was insane.
It would not surprise me.
It was insane.
But, we got on set, and it's just that the cast and the crew, it was like a little family for a couple of days when we shot it, and it was magical. To be honest with you, it was we felt the pain a little bit, even though we were on set and we were creating a film based upon real life situations. It was always a check back to say, what if this happened?
Right.
You know, and in my mindset, I'm like, well, you know, here I am trying to escape America. Where do I go? Do I go to Canada? What if I get caught? Do I go to Mexico? I don't speak Spanish. So it's real life topics, and it's a representation of the majority of the United States.
Right.
What will happen if that was to happen? And it got a lot of good response, and you know, I was very grateful to be a part of it.
It was it was an amazing piece of work. It's still available for people to check it out?
I believe it is.
Okay.
It is. If you just Google actually the actual project, "Make America Great?" ?
Yes.
You'll Candace Vernon information will come up.
Okay.
And I believe it's maybe still traveling the festival market. I was very happy to have the comic relief out the project.
Yes.
Because everything else was heavy. So she gave me just a start and a finish. And she said,
starting to finish, and you just say go.
Wherever you go,
Nice.
is where you go. And you know, that has to do with a lot with trust.
Yeah,
being on
for
set, a lot of trust with the existing lines, not to overpower any other actor, respect everybody's lines, and really just make sure you tell the story and it gets to the finish. But you know, at the time, stuff was just coming to me. I was just like, okay, I was like, did I just say that? And everybody, you know, people, it was fun on set. I'll say it was fun.
So how important is improv? Just to share with, you know, other actors, people are listening right now, because I mean, that's pretty much what you did in that film.
At least 50% of the projects that I've done in my whole life have all been improv.
Nice.
Even though it was scripted, I've worked with some amazing people like Larry Kennard with DTLA, and we were able to, that was only about 50% scripted.
Nice.
So it was half scripted, half improv. And again, they give you a start, they give you a finish, but you really have to get all your tools in your tool belt.
Yeah.
And whether you have formal training or not, that comes from growing up on the south side of Chicago. Literally. Having being quick-minded and having a quick response. Just walking down the hallways in high school, somebody says something smart to you, just like, what? Well, you and your mama. You know, just like, so, you know, all that built up over the years, and now, you know, I can just walk on set and be like, okay, I don't need no script.
Yeah.
You know, or give me a script.
Right. Well, you brought up DTLA. It's perfect, since that's actually what I was going into. So you have assistant producer, right? Associate producer. Of that. And your character, Stefan, talk to us a little bit about your character in that series.
Stefan was one of the only bisexual characters in the project. We didn't go too much into his sexuality because it was not a lot to talk about. It was, you have these group of friends living in downtown Los Angeles, and we are having a little glimpse into the love, the friendship, the work life of their growth, and it's kind of a true representation of living here in Los Angeles. You know, the creator did not want to represent West Hollywood's aspect, because that's enough overdone. What about the rest of the city? What about the rest of the state and the representation of the gay, straight, bisexual person living in Los Angeles, and they're all a group of friends, and how do they get along with each other and survive, and you know, the love and relationships through that. Stefan comes in. My character was a little complex to the point where he was trying to figure himself out in the life that he lives, because he always had to survive, and where he reached the point of survival, he forgot how to be. He forgot the little small bits of humanity. Outside of his friendships, his whole life is lived by tough love. So that kind of was that little dynamic with all the friends. It's about 8 friends, 8 core group of friends, but he is the as a matter of fact guy. This is what you're gonna get. This is what happens. Well, this is your fault. This is why it's your fault. You know, and we all have that friend where it's just like, well, they're gonna tell you the truth, no matter what. So I'm very happy that Larry Kennard gave me the freedom to really explore that character and take it to another level. You know, we also had Mike Palmieri, which was one of the executive producers of the show, and we just got a lot of great feedback. It was a great cast.
And you also work with Daryl Stevens, right?
With Daryl Stevens
from Noah's Ark. So how was that experience?
It was great. We were best friends in the show. I didn't know Daryl at the time, but he knew a friend of a friend in Chicago. Right, so I heard of him, and then when I came out to Los Angeles, I used to study at this place called Java Tour. It's no longer. It's now Pump.
Oh,
Vanderpump, Mr.
Gotcha.
Vanderpump. And he would come in and get coffee, and it's like I recognize that guy.
Right.
And it was Daryl. And long and behold, another year or two passing, we were end up on the show together.
Small world,
Yes.
or small Hollywood, I should say. Now, you've come across, quite a few celebrities and stuff, but one being also Tiffany Pilar, Miss New York.
Yes.
As you all know, I love New York.
HBIC.
Right. So how is Tiffany? Is Tiffany really like New York in real life?
How do you want me to answer that, Tiffany?
Be real, actually.
When I walked on set, as I was talking earlier, we're only matched up with certain cast members based upon the scenes that we shoot.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the luxury of having almost every scene with Tiffany.
Yeah, perfect.
She was my arch nemesis.
She knows how to do that for
Oh
sure.
man, and it was awesome because we had our script, and then the producers were like, "Well, let's just see what they can do." And stuff that she was coming out her mouth, I was like, "Tiffany, did you just go there? All right, you want to go there? All right, well, here we go. Taking the gloves off." To answer your question, she is a sweetheart.
Yeah.
She is very articulate, very well kept, and she's that person that wants everyone to get along.
Okay.
You
Wow.
know.
That's surprising.
I know. And she is absolutely fun to be around.
Yeah.
And sexy, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
And so we had the chance of not only working with her in front of the production of DTLA, but we also did an after the show with her for Out TV in Canada. So we did about 9 episodes where she was the host of the after the show with DTLA, which was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so now you're also doing a Modern Couple, right?
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that project.
Okay. So right now what we're doing, we're teaming up with different writers and producers and original content, and we're putting together the actors and the projects of different. Modern Couple represents a take on the relationships that we deal with on a day-to-day factor that's not so modern. Hence the all-black relationship or the relationships that are just male on male, male-female. It is, what are the complexities that we question every day in our relationships? And if you go down the street with someone who doesn't look like you, what are people saying about that?
Right.
And people, or two individuals together from different cultures or different races, when you reach that point where you have a topic or you argue about something that you're like, oh, here we go again. So I was able to work with Gene on a couple of episodes. And it was just it was a very small production staff, just me, her, and like 1 or 2 other production teammates. And we just wanted to do a couple test fillers before we go into larger production, just to see, the feedback on what people were saying about it.
Right.
And and that's what we're doing right now with a lot of our productions. Is just teaming up with a lot of different writers and producing a couple of smaller projects just to get a feel, kind of put out test projects.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of what Modern Couple is about. And right now we're getting more scripts from around the U.S. and we're looking at them and just seeing where do we go from here.
Gotcha.
And that's what you have to do in L.A.
Yes.
You got to keep producing content. You got to keep those actor chops. You can't control when you're going to be on a show.
Right.
But what you can control is your creative outlet, if you have the luxury of doing so.
Yes.
I've worked with some amazing people, over my span being here, and I'm constantly always like, well, what can we do? Let's do something now. It's not paid. Well, I don't care. Let's shoot it.
Yeah.
Because when it's all about, for me personally, it's about what is the story that I'm telling today. Who can I influence, share, inspire with my craft, and what character can I play to influence and inspire someone out around the world?
Right.
And that's what I look at with every character that I approach, is what is the bigger picture here? I just can't play a character that I don't believe in just to get a paycheck. The paycheck comes over time.
Yeah, for sure.
But if I really value what I do every day, I have to be inspired.
Yeah.
And that's just me.
That's very true. Yeah. I mean, and the product is so much better.
I agree.
When you believe in it. So now I'm going to go to just a couple questions from online, the universe out there. And one person asked, what do you do to prepare for a role?
Me, it depends on, I look at what is it about this character that I can relate to first off. Mm-hmm. If it's nothing, then I got a lot of homework to do.
Yeah.
But obviously there's something about me and my persona, or the production, the producer, the director, or the writer, or the casting director that called me see in correlation to who I am, what I look like, how I present myself. Mm-hmm. I try to do research on the occupation. If it's regarding a doctor, if it's because I haven't been a doctor.
Right.
I've been 2 doctors. Right. And I also have my core group of friends who actually have done certain projects, and I get a lot of feedback from them. Well, what do you think? Mm-hmm. But it's mainly just the majority of what I need is in a dialogue. I'm very fortunate to have some amazing writers, work with a lot of amazing writers, and it's just what do I see in the dialogue? Is there something that tells me about this character that I'm not seeing right off bat? I also pray on it.
No.
I want to make sure that I'm telling my truth within this character, because the characters that I play are just a small extension of who I am.
Right.
And the rest is what are the obstacles and the challenges I'm dealing with in this world that this character is living in. Mm-hmm. With Stefan, it was survival. I am a black male, a black lawyer in Los Angeles, and I've had all these obstacles to get where I'm at. Right. Yet, I still feel the need to overpower whoever I'm dating and not be vulnerable.
Sense of control, yeah.
And, whether I come in for a cameo, it's literally, I have to tell a story. I have to tell a whole story of this young girl in Glee through a picture. Yeah. Thank God that's where modeling came in. Right. But to prepare, it really is just hitting the ground running and just get as much as you can. But sometimes, things happen so fast here in LA. Right. You get the script the night, you are called in the next morning, you are cast the next day, they put you on hold, and then you're shooting by the weekend. Yes. And God forbid if it's overseas, then you got to go travel. You just got to really give it your best and trust that what you bring to the table is enough, and you got to trust that director is going to lead you the rest of the way.
Nice. Well said. Another one, quick question here. What is the difference for you playing a homosexual and heterosexual role?
There is no difference. Okay. It's humanity. It's a true representation of what we all go through. Yeah. Love is love. Right. And my main thing for me is I just did not want to be typecast into a certain character type. And as I told myself, well, if this is my niche, if that is the genre that I'm going to monopolize that. I'm going to get every role that I can that's going to fit in that type. Nice. And if I'm unhappy with that, then I'll produce my own stuff. Right. Exactly. But I'm happy that I've had the chance to explore and to experience and to really just I've had a wonderful time playing both characters. It does not bother me either way, because to have someone stop me at an airport and say, hey, you're that guy from DTLA, or you're that guy from Cheetah in August. I loved you. Right. Or I had a guy to stop me in Target. It was like, hey, make America great. I was like, dude, yeah. He's like, dude, man. Nice. And they are and that's what it's about. I became an actor. I became an actor because I said, not only because I'm doing something different almost every day, I want someone to look at my life and say, well, that guy looks like me. That guy came from where I came. That guy is showing me that there's more out there than what I can visually see around me. And that means more to me than anything. Right. I started high school with over 758 freshmen. Only 168 graduated by that time. Wow. So against those odds, and as I say, I've already beat the odds. I'm the sperm that made it up to the egg.
Exactly.
So
born a winner.
Get
already.
out my way.
All right, last question. Just real quick, what's one piece of advice you wish you had before moving out here and pursuing acting?
Don't have a perception of what you think LA is.
That's a good one.
Don't sell yourself short. And people will tell you exactly who they are right away if you just listen. So don't have that, well, I didn't know that person was going to do this or say this and that. And then their whole life is messed up, or all the things that they've done because they value themselves on one person they've met or a group of people they've met. And they're, and then they're moving away from LA because, because of some person.
Right.
Stay focused. And remember that whatever you're doing, there's 6 more people doing more.
Yeah.
So you got to stay one step ahead of everybody
Right.
as much as you can. But be humble.
Be humble, yeah.
Be on time.
Yes.
Be on time.
Yes.
And be easy to work with. I can't tell you how many times I'm on set and then you just hear people talk about people and do this and do that. And
All the
like,
time.
I'm like, I'm gonna go sit over here. I don't need the bad energy.
Right,
and
right.
I'm all about empowering my fellow teammates, my fellow castmates, my fellow people in my agency. I'm with Citizen Skull Management. Shout out.
Shout out.
But I have an amazing manager. I have an amazing agent over at the firm LA. An amazing agent over at Rage Talent.
Nice.
And that's my team.
Right.
And just grab these people, hold on to them dearly, and if you have any issue, talk it out.
Right.
That's huge here because you can only hold. It's so much rejection you can take in the industry that you need your team to build you up just as much.
Right. All right. Well, that's greatly put. Thank you for that. Well, thanks, Ernest. That's going to be all for today. I thank you so much for joining us and being inside the Black Actors Studio. Can you go ahead and tell everyone where to find you?
Hey, guys, you can find me on Instagram at Ernest Pierce, ErnestPierce. That will bring you across all my social media.
All your social media. And folks, you can find me everywhere at I am Danny Royce. Also, tune in next week, same place, same time, here inside the Black Actors Studio. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
On behalf of our BHL staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in to Black Hollywood Live, the world's first digital broadcast network devoted entirely to urban entertainment and pop culture. Check out our Black Hollywood Live YouTube page for even more great programming and amazing content, and be sure to subscribe and like our channel when you do. I'm your BHL host, Nakia Monet, and you can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom or at Black Hollywood Live. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.